Curiosity kills every problem. When I say curiosity kills every problem, it does not mean curiosity solves problems. Problems are not solved, they are manufactured. A problem is not an external event. A problem is a mind with excess, undirected energy. When curiosity is alive, the mind is occupied with what is real. When it is dead, the mind turns inward and invents suffering. So, curiosity doesn't attack problems, it stops the factory that produces them. That is what kills means here. What most people call problems are actually symptoms: loneliness, confusion, overthinking, ego, anger, restlessness, self obsession, emotional turbulence. These are not problems, they are what happens when the mind has nothing to penetrate. The undirected mind always collapses into the self, and the self is an infinite source of noise. Curiosity gives the mind an object outside itself. Curiosity points the mind toward understanding, structure, cause and effect, systems, learning, reality. When the mind is outward facing, there is no identity maintenance, no emotional narration, no memory loops, no fantasy addiction. There is only engagement. Engagement is silence. Why curiosity is different from discipline or motivation? Discipline is force, motivation is emotion. Both require constant fuel. Curiosity requires none. It is effortless because it aligns with how the mind is meant to function. A curious mind does not need control. It forgets itself. Self-forgetting is peace. Why ego appears when curiosity dies? Ego is not confidence. Ego is not strength. Ego is unused intelligence turned inward. When the mind is not investigating reality, it investigates itself. It builds identity. It monitors image. It seeks stimulation. It creates intoxication. This feels powerful. It is decay. Curiosity removes ego not by fighting it, but by making it irrelevant. So, what does the sentence actually mean? Curiosity kills every problem means a mind that is genuinely engaged with understanding reality does not have the capacity to generate psychological problems. Not because life is perfect, but because the mind is properly employed. The uncomfortable truth. Most people don't want curiosity, they want identity, they want emotion, they want to feel important, they want to feel deep. Curiosity threatens all of that because a curious mind has no time to admire itself. So, problems are not enemies to be defeated, they are byproducts of a misused mind. Curiosity is not a solution, it is correct usage. When the mind is used correctly, there is nothing left to fix. So, yes, curiosity does not solve problems, it prevents the mind from manufacturing them. Most human problems are not real, they are a byproduct of unused mental energy. When the mind has no direction, it turns inward. When it turns inward without purpose, it creates identity. Identity demands stimulation. Stimulation produces intoxication. Intoxication feels like something is happening, so it feels meaningful. This is why the gym becomes dangerous for the undirected man. Not because strength is bad, but because strength without inquiry becomes vanity. Ego is not confidence. Ego is unused curiosity turned inward. When curiosity is alive, the mind is outward facing. It is absurd. It is quiet. It is precise. Notice this. When you are genuinely curious about sales, money, systems, or learning, there is no you watching yourself think. There is only engagement. That absence of self-observation is peace. Most people try to fix problems. There is nothing to fix. The mind that is properly engaged does not generate problems in the first place. This is why discipline fails. This is why motivation fades. This is why suppression creates rebounds. They are all attempts to control energy rather than direct it. Curiosity is direction without force. And here is the uncomfortable truth most people miss. Curiosity is not a virtue. It is selfish intelligence. It exists because the mind functions best when it is learning, exploring, and penetrating reality, not when it is admiring itself. So when curiosity dies, the mind feeds on identity, emotion, memory, fantasy, comparison. This feels like depth, but it is decay. Problems disappear not because life improves, but because the mind no longer has the space to lie to itself. The task is simple but not easy. Never ask, how do I stop ego? Never ask, how do I control feelings? Ask only, what am I genuinely curious about right now? If there is no answer, that is the danger signal. Curiosity is not optional, it is maintenance for the mind. Without it, the mind turns into a mirror, and a man staring into a mirror for too long will always go mad. So, when curiosity dies, the mind feeds on identity, emotion, memory, fantasy, comparison. This feels like depth, but it is decay. When curiosity dies, the mind has excess energy. The mind is an engine, it must consume something. If it is not consuming reality, it consumes itself. Curiosity is what sends the mind outward into learning, inquiry, penetration of how things work. When the outward movement stops, the energy does not disappear, it turns inward. That inward turn is what people mistake for depth. But it is not depth, it is circulation. Identity, the first substitute. When curiosity is absent, the mind asks, who am I? Not as inquiry, but as obsession. So it builds the gym identity, the spiritual identity, the wounded identity, the disciplined identity, the misunderstood identity. Identity gives the mind something to hold. But identity is static, curiosity is dynamic. A static mind rots. Emotion, energy without direction. Emotion feels alive, that's why the mind prefers it. Anger, pride, sadness, longing, inspiration. These feel like movement, but they go nowhere. Emotion becomes the replacement for curiosity because it is intense, it is personal, it requires no effort. This is why people say, I am feeling deeply these days. No, you are feeling aimlessly. Emotion without inquiry is not depth, it is wasted energy. Memory, the mind eating the past. When there is no future oriented curiosity, the mind digs into memory, replaying old conversations, past mistakes, victories, heartbreaks, moments of attention. Memory feels rich. It feels texture. It feels meaningful, but memory is dead material. A mind living on memory is a scavenger, not a creator. Fantasy, counterfeit exploration. Fantasy is curiosity without reality. The mind simulates success, admiration, confrontation, revenge, mastery, romance. Fantasy feels productive because it uses imagination, but it produces nothing. It is mental masturbation, high stimulation, zero output. Fantasy is what happens when curiosity wants to live, but courage is absent. Comparison, borrowed identity. When the mind has no object of inquiry, it borrows others. It measures bodies, money, intelligence, status, attention, discipline. Comparison gives temporary orientation. At least I know where I stand. But it is orientation relative to illusion. A curious mind measures reality. A stagnant mind measures people. Why this feels like depth? All five, identity, emotion, memory, fantasy, comparison, have one thing in common. They are internally rich. They feel layered. They feel complex. They feel heavy. People confuse heaviness with depth. Depth is clarity. Decay is density. A decaying mind becomes thick, noisy, self-referential. A deep mind becomes sharp, quiet, and precise. The litmus test asks this: is my mind moving toward understanding something real, or is it circling itself? If it is circling itself, no matter how intense it feels, you are not becoming deeper. You are becoming congested. The final cut. Curiosity is not intellectual, it is hygienic. It cleans the mind by giving it something real to chew on. Without it, the mind chews its own tail and calls the pain growth. This is why this insight matters. You aren't escaping problems, you are starving the mind of its favorite poison, itself. So, problems are not solved, they are prevented. When curiosity is alive, the mind is occupied with reality. When curiosity dies, the mind turns inward and feeds on itself. Identity, emotion, memory, fantasy, comparison. These feel like depth, but they are decay. They are what arise when intelligence has no direction. Curiosity is not a virtue, it is correct usage of the mind. A curious mind forgets itself. and a mind that forgets itself has no problems to carry. So the task is not self control, discipline, or suppression. The task is simple and ruthless. Never let curiosity die. Because the moment the mind is properly engaged, there is nothing left to fix.